The silent revenge of a super empath. The avoidant never saw coming. You gave her everything. Not in a needy way, not in a desperate way. You just loved hard, the way empaths love. You read between her lines. You felt her moods before she spoke them. You held space for her trauma. You forgave the cold shoulders, the silent treatments, the random walls she'd throw up out of nowhere. And what did you get back? Distance, confusion, the slow drip of being pushed away by the same person you would have stood in front of a bullet for. Now you're sitting here, phone in hand, replaying every conversation, and those thoughts are running on a loop. How did I let it get this bad? Why did I keep giving when she kept pulling away? Why does it feel like I'm the only one who actually cared? Was I just convenient to her? Bro, stop right there. Because here's what nobody told you. The avoidant didn't break you. She woke you up. And the man who wakes up from an avoidant relationship is the most dangerous version of you that has ever existed. Not angry dangerous, not bitter dangerous. Quietly, calmly, unshakably dangerous, in the most magnetic way possible. You're not weak for feeling everything. You're not too much because you actually showed up. Most guys never even get close to the depth you operate at. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how that depth becomes your revenge. Not loud revenge, not petty revenge, the kind of silent, grounded transformation that hits her harder than any words ever could. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's about to happen inside her mind when the empath she dismissed becomes the man she can't forget, and why she'll feel it long before she ever admits it. Let's get into it. Most guys believe revenge is loud. They think it's posting the gym selfie, dating someone hotter, sending the petty text, making sure she sees how fine you are without her. But here's the real truth that no one explains. Avoidants are immune to loud. Loud confirms what they already believed about you, that you needed them, that they had power over you, that your reactions were proof of your weakness. Every loud move you make is emotional oxygen for her wall. The real revenge of a super empath isn't loud. It's silent. It's internal. It's the kind of shift she can't see on Instagram, but she can feel from across the city. Here's the psychological truth that's going to flip your entire understanding of this dynamic. Empaths and avoidants are connected through a frequency, not a conversation. She didn't bond with your words. She bonded with your energy. So when your energy changes, and when the man who used to bend over backwards for her crumbs becomes a man who is fully sufficient on his own, her nervous system feels it before her brain processes it. She senses the shift. Her gut whispers that something is off. The version of you she had categorized in her mind doesn't match the frequency she's picking up anymore. And that's when something inside her starts to crack. She won't text you to tell you. She'll just feel it. And feeling it is the punishment. Because avoidants don't fear losing you. They fear losing the version of you that they could always come back to whenever they got lonely. The moment that version of you dies, the empath who was always available, always understanding, always one apology away from forgiving, they lose the safety net they didn't know they were standing on. And that's where the silent revenge begins. 1. The withdrawal that rewrites her reality. Most guys, when they finally realize they've been giving more than they were getting, do the worst possible thing. They explain it. They send a long text. They list everything they did for her. They make sure she knows how hurt they are. They demand acknowledgement. Bro, that's the loudest possible mistake. Here's the deeper truth. Avoidants are wired to dismiss anything that feels like emotional pressure. The moment you explain your hurt, you've handed her the script to invalidate it. She'll roll her eyes. She'll call you dramatic. She'll go cold even harder, because now you've confirmed she was right to pull away. But the silent withdrawal? That's a weapon she has no defense against. When you simply stop reaching out, stop reacting, stop showing up to the unspoken games. No paragraph, no goodbye text, no closure conversation, just absence, clean, grounded, dignified absence. Her brain has no story to fight. There's no villain monologue she can use to make you the bad guy. There's only the silence she always claimed she wanted, and the strange discomfort of finally getting it. Picture two versions of you. Version 1 sends her a 3-paragraph text about how much he sacrificed. Version 2 simply stops responding, stays in his own life, doesn't post a single passive-aggressive story. Which one shakes her more? Version 2. Every time. Because her nervous system has been calibrated to your presence. The empath was the constant. The empath was the safety. And when that constant disappears without warning, her body whispers, "Wait, where did he go?" That's the moment her reality starts rewriting itself. 2. The identity upgrade she was never invited to. Most guys, after an avoidant pulls away, fall into one of two traps. They either spiral into depression and become a shell of who they were, or they go into revenge body mode, performative, loud, clearly trying to be seen. Both moves keep her in the center of your life. Here's where it gets interesting. The real revenge isn't getting in shape for her to see it. It's not posting the gym selfie hoping she'll watch. It's not learning new skills so she'll regret it. The real revenge is becoming a man whose evolution has nothing to do with her at all. Not the "I'll show her" upgrade, not the "make her jealous" upgrade, not the "win her back" upgrade, but the quiet, grounded, "I'm becoming this for me" upgrade. You start lifting because you love how it feels. You start reading because you're hungry for it. You start cutting people out of your life because you finally see what real connection looks like. You build habits. You build silence. You build a life she is no longer the main character of. And here's the thing. Avoidants have a sixth sense for self-sufficiency. When she catches a glimpse of you through a mutual friend, through social media, through the grapevine, she doesn't see a guy trying to prove anything. She sees a man who is fully alive without her in it. Her brain says, "He's different. He's not waiting for me anymore." That's the shift that turns dismissal into obsession. 3. The emotional unavailability that finally matches hers. Most guys are constantly emotionally available to the avoidant. Door always open, heart always exposed, texts always answered within minutes. They think being open is the path to closeness. Here's the part nobody talks about. For an avoidant, your constant availability is the very thing that allowed her to pull away. Why? Because she always knew you'd be there. There was no urgency, no consequence, no real possibility of losing you. Your unconditional access made you optional in her mind. The silent revenge is when, for the first time in the dynamic, she feels what you felt for years. The reaching, the wondering, the not knowing where she stands. And the wildest part, you don't have to fake it. You don't have to play games. You don't have to be cold. You just have to genuinely move on inside. When your emotional center of gravity shifts from her to you, when your peace no longer depends on her mood, her message, her validation, your responses change naturally. You don't reply instantly anymore. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you have a life to live. You don't drop everything when she reaches out. Not because you're punishing her, but because you're not pacing by the door anymore. Picture this. Old you would have texted back within 30 seconds. No matter the time, no matter the mood. New you sees her name on the screen, feels nothing in particular, finishes what you're doing, and gets back to her hours later. Or sometimes not at all. And in that gap, she feels something she's never felt before. He's not waiting for me anymore. That's emotional caffeine for her brain, and she didn't see it coming. 4. The calm she can't destabilize anymore. Most guys, when they finally hear from an avoidant after the silence, lose their composure instantly. They get emotional. They get reactive. They either go cold and angry, or they melt into forgiveness mode. Both reactions tell her one thing. She still controls your emotional state. Here's the truth. An avoidant's secret power was never love. It was the ability to destabilize you. That's the loop. She pulls away, you panic. She comes back, you flood with relief. She pulls away again, you panic harder. That cycle is the entire dynamic. And it works because your peace was always tied to her presence. The silent revenge is the moment that loop dies. You hear from her after weeks of silence. Old you would have felt your heart race. New you feels nothing dramatic. Maybe a flicker of recognition. Maybe a calm curiosity. But no shaking hands. No racing thoughts. No, what does this mean? Spiral. You read the message. You don't rush to respond. You don't analyze the punctuation. You don't show her best friend the screenshot. You just sit with it. Grounded, calm, completely unmoved. When you finally do respond, your message is short, warm, but not eager, open, but not chasing. The energy is, "I see you, I hope you're well, but my life didn't stop while you were gone." And when she reads that message, her gut tells her instantly, something about him is different. I don't have the same power I used to have. That's the moment she realizes the empath she could always come back to is no longer there. The door is still open, but the man behind it doesn't need her to walk through it. That's when the regret starts. Quietly, privately, painfully. 5. The boundaries that replace the begging. Most guys think empaths don't have boundaries, that because they feel so much, they let people walk all over them. And honestly, for most of your life, that's probably been true. You sensed people's pain so deeply that you became responsible for it. You absorbed her chaos and called it love. But here's what changes everything. A super empath who learns boundaries becomes the most dangerous force an avoidant has ever encountered. Why? Because the empath's intuition didn't disappear. It just got pointed in a new direction. Now, instead of using your radar to soothe her, you use it to see through her. You see the breadcrumb text for what it is. You see the late night just thinking of you message for what it is. You see the random emotional spike that pulls you in only to be shut down a week later. And for the first time, you don't take the bait. Not because you don't still love her, not because you don't still care, but because you finally love yourself more than the chaos she brought into your life. Imagine this. She sends the message, the one designed to test the door. Old, you would have responded with paragraphs, dropped your plans, made yourself fully available. New you reads it, recognizes the pattern instantly, and says something like, I appreciate you reaching out. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. Polite, warm, final, no follow-up, no second text, no invitation to catch up. Just a closed door delivered with such calm dignity that she has no choice but to feel the weight of it. And in that moment, her body says, oh, he really did move on. That's the silent dagger no avoidant ever sees coming. 6. The presence that haunts her in rooms you're not in. Most guys completely underestimate the psychological imprint they leave on an avoidant. They assume that out of sight means out of mind, that if she's not texting, she's not thinking, that her silence means she's living her life happily without them. Here's the truth that's going to shift everything for you. You haunt her in ways she will never admit. Empaths leave fingerprints on people's nervous systems, the way you listened, the way you remembered the small things, the way you made her feel safe to be soft for the first time in her life. That kind of presence doesn't get deleted when you stop talking. It gets buried. And the longer it's buried, the louder it echoes when something stirs it back up. A song will play and her chest will tighten. A smell will hit her and she'll be back in your apartment for a second. Someone will laugh the way you laugh and her stomach will drop. She'll be on a date with someone new, and the second the conversation goes shallow, her brain will say, this is nothing like him. She'll fight it. She'll push it down. She'll tell her friends she's totally fine. But every quiet moment, every empty bed, every dinner where the conversation is just okay, your absence will become a presence she can't escape. This is the curse of being loved by an empath and walking away from it. You don't realize what you had until the silence becomes louder than every relationship you try to fill it with, and her gut keeps whispering, why does it still feel like he's the one who got away? That's not a thought she'll text you. That's the thought that will keep her up at 3 a.m. for months. 7. The final form she never got to meet. Most guys, after going through the empath avoidance cycle, want one of two things, either to win her back or to make her regret losing them. Both options keep her in the center of the story. Here's where the deepest revenge lives. And this is the one most guys completely miss. The real revenge is becoming a man so evolved, so grounded, so magnetic, that the woman she sees you with one day isn't her replacement but her upgrade. A woman who loves you the way you always deserve to be loved. A woman who doesn't make you guess. A woman who doesn't punish your softness, she rewards it. A woman who looks at your depth not as a burden, but as a gift. Not the rebound, not the revenge fling, not the I'll show her girl, but the woman your final form was always meant to attract. Because here's the thing, the avoidant didn't lose you when you stopped texting. She lost you the day you decided you would never again accept a love that made you feel like a placeholder. And when she eventually sees you, happy, settled, fully claimed by someone who actually meets you at your level, her body will know. Her nervous system will recognize what it failed to protect. Her gut will say, that was supposed to be mine. She won't be able to text you. She won't be able to reach out. She won't even be able to compete because the man she let go was a draft. The man you've become is the final version, and she will spend years trying to understand how she missed it. That's not bitterness. That's not pettiness. That's just the natural consequence of what happens when an empath finally learns his worth. Closing. So here's what I need you to take with you tonight, bro. This isn't about getting her back. This isn't about making her hurt. This isn't about proving anything to anyone, ever again. This is about finally understanding that the depth you have, the intuition, the empathy, the way you feel everything 10 times harder than the average person, was never your weakness. It was always your weapon. You just had it pointed in the wrong direction. You were using it to absorb someone else's pain instead of using it to build a life worthy of who you actually are. The silent revenge of a super empath isn't loud. It isn't petty. It isn't planned. It's the quiet, inevitable transformation of a man who finally stopped giving his light to people who couldn't see it and started saving it for himself. She didn't lose you when you walked away. She lost you the moment you remembered who you were before her. Stop trying to be understood by people who weren't built to feel you. Become the man only the right one will recognize. If this hit something deep in you tonight, if you felt this in your chest more than you expected to, then there's one more video you need to watch right now. It's called The 3 Things an Avoidant Does Right Before She Tries to Come Back. And it breaks down the exact signals her nervous system gives off in the weeks leading up to her reaching out again. So you know what's coming. So you're not caught off guard. So you stay grounded when she finally cracks. Click it. Watch it tonight. The man you're becoming will thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Script is clean, copy-paste ready, and optimized for voiceover. No bracketed stage directions inside spoken lines, no formatting artifacts, just natural rhythm, pause breaks, and conversational pacing built for high retention. Drop straight into 11 Labs, play HT or your TTS tool of choice, and you're recording ready.